Their house was located in a part of the city that was in complete control of the terrorist insurgent group called Al-Qaeda in Iraq, which is better known today as ISIS. So as an Army combat medic, it was my job not only to take care of U.S. troops when they're ill or injured, but it was also my job to take care of any of the allies, even the enemy, and any civilians that were hurt during combat operations. Abdallah, who's the mother of the Abdallah family, was one of those civilians. She was caught in a crossfire incident during a checkpoint battle, and she received significant injuries. Her right arm was amputated at the shoulder. She had significant and serious internal wounds to her organs, and the femur on her right leg was shattered. She was brought to a U.S. Army hospital where she received resuscitative surgical care and survived. But a few days later, under the pressure of the insurgency, the family was forced to remove her from the hospital, where they brought her to their home. Later, in a small bed in the living room, she became infected and she was dying. So when I found out about this, I basically had two choices. The first choice was to follow procedure, and that was to make arrangements to bring by literally a canvas bag of cash, give it to the family for their compensation, and that would be it. My other choice was to try to find her, seek her out, give her care, and try to save her life. So for the next 3 months, I found myself on a covert medical mission, along with a small squad of infantrymen, infiltrating enemy territory all different days of the week, all different hours of the night, traversing dusty alleyways, either by foot or by vehicle, hiding in the shadows of buildings. And as we would come around the corner into the neighborhood where the Abdallah house was, the infantry would go and begin search and seizure operations, which was a normal routine, but it acted to distract the enemy, so then I could sneak through and slip into the Abdallah house. When I went into the house, the green world of night vision would disappear when I lifted my night vision goggles, and a dimly lit room came into focus. 5 little souls would gang rush me and jump into my arms and hold me around my neck. That was the Abdallah children. They became very friendly and trustworthy of me, especially because I would bring them toys and treats, coloring books, things of that nature. But I wasn't there for them. I was there to take care of their mom. So I would go over to the small bed where I would begin treating her with IVs, antibiotics, changing her dressings, other things of that nature. And this went on for about 3 months. A strong focus of her care plan was her missing arm, because in a Muslim culture, the right hand is the sacred hand. Anything clean or sacred has to be done with the right hand. And without the right hand, especially in the eyes of the terrorists, she could be seen as dispensable, and in the right occasion, disposable, and could have been killed. So it wasn't just about saving her life as much as it was about protecting her going forward and preserving her family. On that day in May that I stood in her living room next to her, and in that time that I got there, again, gang rushed by the kids, but by then she was pretty much healed. She had survived those wounds, and I was going to make one more visit before I left. Along that trip and along that time period, I would also bring specialists with me. I would bring doctors sometimes, or nutritionists. I brought a physical therapist once who actually knew somebody back in the States, who said that if we could get measurements for her, that they would provide us with an artificial arm. And we were told that this would suffice to protect her going forward, and it would validate her within her community, her society, because she would then have a right hand again, even though it would be artificial. So as I went there that last time, the second to last time to visit her, she was doing pretty well. We actually had a chance to sit down and talk. And I shared with her pictures of my family. We talked about my home. She said, I never thought I would see an American soldier who could be so compassionate. And I just told her, I said, well, I'm American. That's who we are. That's what we do. we care about people. We talked more about our families, and we talked about our faith. And she's Muslim, of course, and I'm Christian, and that was an interesting conversation. And she said, you know, I hope someday you can come back and you can see this city. It's a wonderful city in the light of peace instead of how you see it in the darkness of war. And I said, well, I am coming back at least one more time when we're bringing your arm. And she said, no. Well, I thought maybe she misunderstood what I said, or she misunderstood the interpreter, so I said it again. We're coming again, but this time we're bringing your arm. It's really exciting. And she said, Allah. No. No, you can't come back. Said, well, why? She said, word on the street is they have discovered you. They are setting a plan to capture you and to kill you. Then she took my hand with her left hand, her only hand, and she looked me in the face and she said, you saved my life, now allow me to save yours. And so I'm happy to be here tonight.